Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Jamuna Tira Vanam Sari Jamuna Tira Vanam Sari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivara Hari Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Yashodanandana Brajajanarandana Jamuna Tira Vanasari Jamuna Tira Vanasari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Radha Madhava Radha Madhava Radhe. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Vishnupada Paramahamsa Tri Vrajaka Sauja Stotra Satta Sri Simad His Divine Grace Hilabai Chalanaravinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Sri Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki ISKCON DBT Founder Acharyas Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada Ki Namacharya Sri Haridas Thakur Ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Harinam Sankirtan Ki Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Janitai Gaura Primanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and to Sri Gauranga, all glories to Sri Prabhupada. I'll take my shutter. Yeah. Still a little cool. Not exactly cold, but not exactly warm also. Yeah. Huh? It's okay. Welcome to our Srimad Bhagavatam class. We continue to read from, actually we just started, from the third chapter of the second canto. And today we have a series of verses, text number 2 to 7. Yeah. So we will just recite the first verse and word for word, then go to the translation and purport. Om Agyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Taksuranmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaisnavam Sya Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tvam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Sri Vishakanvitam Sya. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Suti Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vansakalpa Tirubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vyaivacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is a very means of conquest, let us first offer our respectful obeisances unto Narayana, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, unto Narayan Rishi, the supremmost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nasta prayesha badreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama-shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. By regularly hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering a service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome within the heart becomes destroyed practically to nil, and loving devotional service unto the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, becomes established as an irrevocable fact. Idam Bhagavatam Nama Puranam Brahmasamitam Uttama-shloka Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishi Nishreyasaya Lokasya Dhanyam Swasyayanam Mahat. This Srimad Bhagavatam, known as the Grantaraj, the king of all Vedic literatures, is the literary incarnation of God. It is compiled by the incarnation of God, as Srila Vyasadeva. It is meant for the ultimate good of all people. It is all successful, all blissful, and all perfect. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Surabhyaya Namaha. Om Surabhyaya Namaha. Om Surabhyaya Namaha. Mukham karoti vasalam pangom langayate girim yatkripatamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Yatkripatamaham bande Sri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna. So as we were mentioning, today we have a long a series of 4 verses combined together. Text 2 to 7 from the 3rd chapter, which is entitled, I'm sorry. Pure devotional service. Okay, yeah, that's the difference. At the very beginning, it mentions pure devotional service, the change of heart, but then because it's quite long, the other pages, they only mention pure devotional service. So I thought maybe I had the wrong chapter. So pure devotional service, the change of heart, yes. So we will read together text number 2. Brahma Varchasa Kamas Tu Yajeta Brahmanaha Patim Indram Indriya Kamas Tu Praja Kamaha Prajapatim Brahma Kamastu Yajeta Brahmanapatim Indram Indriya Kamastu Praja Kama Prajapatim Brahma Varchasa Kamastu Yajeta Brahmanapatim Indram Indriya Kamastu Praja Kama Prajapatim Brahma Varchasa Kamastu Yajeta Brahmanapatim Indram Indriya Kamastu Praja Kama Prajapatim Brahma Varchasa Kamastu Yajeta Brahmanapatim Kamastu Indriya Kamastu Praja Kama Prajapatim Brahma Varchasa Kamastu Yajeta Brahmanapatim Indram Indriya Kamastu Praja Kama Prajapatim Brahma, the Absolute. Varchasa, effulgence. Kamahatu, but one who desires in that way. Yajeta, do worship. Brahmanaha, of the Vedas. Patim, the Master. Indram, the King of Heaven. Indriya Kamastu, but one who desires strong sense organs. Praja Kama, one who desires many offspring. Prajapatim, the Prajapatis. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Okay, the translation is as long as the purport. So here's the translation to these 4 verses, 2 to 7. One who desires to be absorbed in the impersonal Brahmajyoti effulgence should worship the Master of the Vedas, Lord Brahma or Brihaspati, the learned priest. One who desires powerful sex should worship the heavenly king, Indra. And one who desires good progeny should worship the great progenitors called the Prajapatis. One who desires good fortune should worship Durga Devi, the superintendent of the material world. I guess that's why many people worship Durga Devi. One desiring to be very powerful should worship fire. And one who aspires only after money should worship the Vasus. One should worship the Rudra incarnations of Lord Shiva if he wants to be a great hero. One who wants a large stock of grains should worship Aditi. One who desires to attain the heavenly planets should worship the sons of Aditi. One who desires a worldly kingdom should worship Vishvadeva. And one who wants to be popular with the general mass of population should worship the Satya demigod. One who desires a long span of life should worship the demigods known as the Ashvini Kumaras. And a person desiring a strongly built body should worship the earth. One who desires stability in his post should worship the horizon and the earth combined. One who desires to be beautiful should worship the beautiful residents of the Gandharva planet. And one who desires a good wife should worship the Apsaras and the Urvasi society girls of the heavenly kingdom. One who desires domination over others should worship Lord Brahma, the head of the universe. My God, so many desires. Everyone is very attentive to this purport. Yeah, my God, yeah. So, yeah, but the purport, the text is not finished yet, and also the purport has yet to come. One who desires tangible fame should worship the personality of Godhead, and one who desires a good bank balance. Wow, that's interesting. The bank balance is here also. And one who desires a good bank balance should worship the demigod Varuna. And if one desires to be a greatly learned man, Varnashram College, he should worship Lord Shiva. And if one desires a good marital relation, he should worship the chaste goddess Uma, the wife of Lord Shiva. Normally we repeat this verse, but I don't think we'll repeat. Yeah, too many desires. Let's go immediately to the purport. Yeah. And then one who has no desires? Expect something in the purport. There are different modes of worship for different persons desiring success in particular subjects. The conditioned soul living within the purview of the material world cannot be an expert in every type of materially enjoyable asset. But one can have considerable influence over a particular matter by worshipping a particular demigod, as mentioned above. Excuse me. Ravana was made a very powerful man by worshipping Lord Shiva. And he used to offer several heads. And he used to offer several heads to please Lord Shiva. He became so powerful by the grace of Lord Shiva that all the demigods were afraid of him until he at last challenged the personality of Godhead, Sri Ramachandra, and thus ruined himself. In other words, all such persons who aspire after gaining some or all of the material objects of enjoyment, or the gross materialistic persons, are on the whole less intelligent, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita 7:20. What does 7:20 say? Yeah, that verse. 7:20. 15. Kamaistais tair ritagyana prapajanti nyadevataha tamatam niyamam asthaya prakritya niyata svaya. Translation: those whose minds are distorted by material desires surrender unto demigods and follow the particular rules and regulations of worship according to their own nature. This hasn't been folded properly, that's why. Anyway, it's okay. Yes. So that is clearly mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita. It is said there that those who are bereft of all good sense, or those whose intelligence is withdrawn by the deluding energy of Maya, aspire to achieve all sorts of material enjoyment in life by pleasing the various demigods, or by advancing in material civilization under the heading of scientific progress. Scientists probably don't like to hear this purport. Or modern day people. The real problem of life in the material world is to solve the question of birth, death, old age, and disease. No one wants to change his birthright. No one wants to meet death. No one wants to be old and invalid. And no one wants disease. But these problems are solved neither by the grace of any demigod, nor by the so-called advancement of material science. In the Bhagavad Gita, as well as in the Srimad Bhagavatam, such less intelligent persons have been described as devoid of all good sense. Shukadeva Goswami said that out of the 8,400,000 species of living entities, the human form of life is rare and valuable. And out of those rare human beings, those who are conscious of the material problems are rarer still. Janmam ritu jara vyadi dukkhadosh anudarshanam. Darshanam, to be aware, or to be conscious, or to have in mind constantly the real problems of life. That's a sign of intelligence. Means one who becomes inquisitive. Why it's like this? Isn't it? Why it's like this means why is it troublesome, inconvenient in so many ways, or why there is suffering. So still more rare, the still more rare persons are those who are conscious of the value. Okay, let me just backtrack a little bit here. It's a long sentence. The human form of life is rare and valuable, and out of those rare human beings, those who are conscious of the material problems are rarer still, and still more rare persons are those, and still more rare, and the still more rare persons, and the still more rare persons are those who are conscious of the value of the Srimad Bhagavatam, who are sitting in Bhagavatam class this morning. Whether it's here or wherever, which contains the messages of the Lord and His pure devotees. Death is inevitable for everyone, intelligent or foolish. But Parikshit Maharaj has been addressed by the Goswami, Shukadeva Goswami, as the Manisi, or the man of highly developed mind, because at the time of death, he left all material enjoyment and completely surrendered unto the lotus feet of the Lord by hearing His messages from the right person, Shukadeva Goswami. But aspirations for material enjoyment by endeavoring persons are condemned. But aspirations for material enjoyment by endeavoring persons are condemned. Such aspirations are sometimes like the intoxication of the degraded human society. Intelligent persons should try to avoid these aspirations and seek instead the permanent life by returning home back to Godhead. Yeah. So this is a clear message being given here. One who has not received that good fortune of coming in contact with the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, one who has not come in contact yet with the nature of the absolute truth, as we can see, this is only a short list. There are many other demigods. There's 33 crore demigods. And material desires are unlimited, isn't it? These are some of the prominent material desires that are listed in this particular verse. But anyone who is falling in this category, which means practically the vast majority of people in the material world are described here as less intelligent persons. Because they are they are not any of these, even if one obtains any of these or fulfills any of these desires, they're all material desires. And they ultimately will not fulfill the actual desires of the living entity of the soul. So therefore, in the purport, by the end of the purport, Prabhupada is stressing, underlining, explaining how it is very, very rare for an individual to actually come in contact with the absolute truth, come in contact with the content and the message of the Srimad Bhagavatam. So, of course, even after coming in contact with this knowledge of Krishna consciousness, we understand that it is not so easy to actually attain that level or that platform where one is no longer allured or disturbed by the material objects or material attractions of the material world. We know, we all know by personal experience how Maya is very powerful, and therefore the Bhagavatam is giving us the process and reminding us in so many different ways how one needs to become fully fixed up or situated in pure devotional service if he wants to completely be let's say protected from the influence of Maya. So the glorious Bhagavatam actually is primarily focused on highlighting the the importance of pure devotional service. This chapter here will give us more insights as to what is pure devotional service, and the ideal example, of course, is Shukadev Goswami and Parikshit Maharaj, who are especially that is mentioned when Parikshit Maharaj was questioning. He presents different questions to Shukadeva Goswami, and Shukadeva Goswami replies, your questions are very glorious. Your questions are very proper, because they deal with not what is simply temporary and therefore less important, but they deal with what is of a permanent nature. They deal with the subject matter of the absolute truth. So this is this long list of material desires will when one comes to properly understand and experience the nature of devotional service, one will very easily be able to give up all of these different allurements or attractions. So yeah, Prabhupada gives a few examples of personalities who were successful, seemingly successful in having their desires granted. In the case of Ravana, Hiranyakashipu also, and so many others. But in the end, as we know, they were all defeated, because they ultimately became those who are staunchly and of course we are completely surrounded. Modern, Prabhupada makes reference here, to modern science. Those who are primarily working towards so-called economic development, which is the primary goal and aim of all the leaders in different countries in the world, and therefore very clearly misleading the general population. So in other words, the more we understand this point, then the more we should be anxious and desirous to make this knowledge available to people, and the more we should be, of course, endeavoring in our own personal lives to develop this kind of understanding. So today, we didn't mention that in the beginning of the Bhagavatam, but today happens to be the disappearance of Srila Ramanujacharya, and he was one such personality who, of course, was very much understanding the importance of bringing this knowledge and understanding. At that time, when he appeared, we just celebrated his 1,000 year appearance recently, and we were just mentioning how this very huge monument of his statue was inaugurated just I think a few days back. And in our Vaishnava Sampradaya, it nicely explains how, of course, because it's Kali Yuga, this whole knowledge and science of Krishna consciousness was lost actually for many centuries, due to, as we read from the Bhagavatam also, due to offenses and misuse of Brahminical position, beginning with Sringhi, who cursed actually Parikshit Maharaj. That story we were reading some time back. And therefore, so much of major deviations took place practically from the very beginning of Kali Yuga, after this cursing of Parikshit Maharaj. And this was the seed of major discontent also. Parikshit Maharaj was a Rajarshi, Kshatriya. Sringi was the son of a Brahmana. So this cursing of Parikshit Maharaj by this young Brahmana boy who misused actually his Brahminical powers brought about a rift between the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas. And this, of course, continued, and in some ways continues to this day. And the deviations of the Brahmanas in the beginning of Kali Yuga continued in such a way that it became too much, it became excessive, and that is when Lord Buddha appeared actually. Lord Buddha appeared to actually put a stop to the abuse and misuse of the Brahminical activities, and therefore the only way he could do that was to actually out and out reject the Brahminical culture. and he therefore established the philosophy of ahimsa, isn't it? Lord Buddha, that's 2,500 years ago. 2,500 years ago, we are now 5,000 years. That means half of this initial period of Kali Yuga has been downhill. So the first sign of correction was the reestablishment of what we call ahimsa philosophy and the golden principles or rules that were also established by Lord Buddha. And if we analyze these, they're known as basic truth, noble truths. They're all basically found in the teachings of the Vedas. But it was not acceptable in the larger picture, in the sense that the Vedic knowledge or the Vedas were minimized by being rejected. They were minimized and rejected, as we hear from our Vaishnavacharyas, because of misuse and misinterpretation. And then Sripad Shankaracharya appeared after Lord Buddha to actually reintroduce. Shankaracharya reintroduced the Vedic knowledge, but in an impersonal way, by establishing Brahman as the absolute truth, and the impersonal philosophy was introduced. And the first signs of Vaishnav, Vaishnav culture and Vaishnav understanding was brought about by Srila Ramanuja Acharya. That goes back to 1,000 years. Then afterwards, other Vaishnava Acharyas appeared, culminating, of course, with the advent of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu 500 years ago. So there's a whole historical development that is taking place in Kali Yuga to introduce reintroduce the glories of the Srimad Bhagavatam as given to us, of course, by Srila Vyasadeva 5,000 years ago. So, but even after the appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as we know, again, we can see, we can understand, because of the powerful influence of the age of Kali. Shortly after the disappearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, again, it's like, the whole mission and the whole Vaishnava tradition went, sidetracked, and for about 300 years, until the advent of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, again it was put on its proper course. So it means that at any time in Kali Yuga there can be major deviations because it's the age of Kali and because we're here in the material world, but especially being the age of Kali, the dangers are even more excessive. And that means there is a need and necessity for more precaution. There's a need and necessity for more in-depth study, more profound understanding and realization of what is given in the Shastra. And of course, that will be demonstrated by how we live, by how we act, isn't it? So, Lord Sri Bhaktivinoda Thakur reintroduced the pure teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just 150 years, 200 years back. And these have, of course, continued through Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, Prabhupada, and then by our own ISKCON founder, Acharya Srila Prabhupada. But this history, it's like, ups and downs that we see since the beginning of Kali Yuga. Since also the disappearance of our founder Acharya, we are also facing various challenges, which is, of course, explained also by our Acharyas, that when such major personalities as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, as our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada disappear, then there's a period of instability that comes in, and therefore whenever there is any kind of a change, eminent change, especially a change which is of a major importance, or presents possible major ramifications or changes, one needs to exercise extreme caution, because within our own society, although we are immensely fortunate to receive this knowledge and to have inherited, we have inherited the mission given to us by our founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada. But if that mission, and the mission is based on various instructions, specific instructions that are given both in the pages of the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, in the text themselves, and of course in the purports by Srila Prabhupada. But if these are not carefully followed and executed, then there can be, again, other deviations introduced. And Srila Prabhupada, we know, he established officially two systems, or we could say two entities. One being ISKCON, the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, which is legally established and registered, as we know, 1966. We just celebrated the Golden Jubilee 2016, 5 years ago. Now we're, 6 years now. Time just goes. It was 5 years in December. Yeah, right. So 6 years, well, we always have to adjust. But in addition to establishing the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, Srila Prabhupada also legally established the BBT, Bhaktivedanta Book Trust, stating that actually these teachings are what is the most important. If ever there is deviation, or if ever the organization of ISKCON fails, my books will be there, you see. Because nothing of what we do can be successful unless it is deeply founded, established, supported, verified, isn't it? By Shastra, by what is in the Vedic literatures. So Shastra means three things, or establishing the validity and authenticity of whatever it may be, especially things pertaining to the absolute truth, or things pertaining to what is dharma, what is actually dharma. And the subject matter of dharma is not so, at times, not so easily understood. Even Grandfather Bhishmadev admitted in the whole context of what took place in the assembly under the guidance of, Dhritarashtra, who was the king at that time. In other words, the whole insult to Draupadi took place when such great personalities as Bhishmadev was present. Vidura, who's also, they are authorities on dharma, but even they became bewildered at that time. So therefore, the danger is always there, especially in Kali Yuga, and therefore the need and the importance to be extremely cautious and to rely on this triple combination of Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. And Shastra is the basis of what all acharyas will be promoting. Shastra is the basis of what all sadhus will be accepting as well. So, yeah. Any comments or questions on this? So we'll close here for now. Jai Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Jai Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Bhimanandi.